So to kick off, Kyle, I'd just love to find out really, what's going on in your world at the moment. What's top of mind and why? What are you thinking about at the moment?
Well, I think first of all, it's a great time to be in the technology business. We've seen our industry and our segment of software and the way we serve our customers and the customers that we serve that are selling every day. We've seen a big boon for the way that they go to market and the way that they deliver value for their customers. So it's a great time. As the CEO of SalesLoft, I particularly am very focused on, really a handful of small things that make a big impact for our customers, for our market, and for our lofters. And I think the first thing that any great CEO really needs to do is align their business around a vision, mission, and values. We have a one-page strategic plan or an organizational charter that we really focus on. And the first line of that is, what is the reason that we exist in this world as a business? And for us at SalesLoft, since the very beginning of time, I'm in my 9th year now since founding the company, we see a world where sellers are loved by the buyers they serve, where they're delivering so much value, where they're empathetic, sincere, authentic, understanding the pain points of their buyers, earning their trust so that they can solve their problems, get the deal done, and really add value. So for us, it's that, that core charter of the company is absolutely critical. And, having a vision and mission and values, core strategies, the objectives we're going after right now, the KPIs. But then, as a CEO, what I need to do is I have to always be focused on alignment in our executive leadership team. How do I create a group of individuals who are on the same page with regards to that charter, who are connected emotionally and relationally with each other? And when they're on the same page, all of that cascades down to the rest of the organization. So executive leadership and the alignment of that team, critically important. Market leadership, we're here to outlast our competition, out innovate our competition, and out execute our competition, all on behalf of the customer in the market. And really the two things that stand out big for me at SalesLoft is we want to be the best place to work, and we want to be the best place to be a customer. And so all of my focus is around those things.
I love that. And that leads on to something about you being the market leader is the journey that SalesLoft has been on to become a unicorn. We don't have that many unicorns in Europe. That's part of the reason why we get excited about these conversations. How has SalesLoft successfully executed to become a unicorn or a hyper growth company in the sales engagement space?
It's funny. I got an email from Jason Limkin, who runs SaaSter, and this was 8 years ago. And at the time, there were 2 SaaS unicorns. 8 or 9 years ago, there were only 2 in the entire world.
Wow.
And I think it was like Salesforce and ExactTarget. And I think that's just saying so much when you see what's happened to the market today. But I think we don't really focus on the valuation that investors have applied to us. What matters more is what I just talked about. How do we be the best place to work? How do we show up every day for our lofters in a way that allows them to learn more, do more, become more, take the talents and skills that they have and use those to serve others and find fulfillment? And when we love on our lofters, they turn around and love on our customers. And customers are at the center of everything that we do. So how do we stay so close to them that we understand their pain points? We live in their shoes. We shadow them frequently. And I think that just, there was a CEO that I met once, and she said that the one who cares the most wins. And I never forgot about that, because at SalesLoft, we care more than anyone else about our customers who are struggling with the pains that it takes to go to market and have a great, successful sales organization. And so I think those are the things that we, care about and focus on. And, I think valuations and revenue, all those follow. But, for us, it's about staying true to those strategic objectives of the business.
It's brilliant. And I love how you bring that back to SalesLoft. One of the great things about you as a pioneer is that you genuinely love the profession, and you can feel it in all the interactions. And I've had the good pleasure of visiting your HQ in Atlanta, and you just feel the high vibes around sales. And because of that, you have a lot of experience interacting with great sales leaders. So, we've got an audience of 1,500 plus European sales leaders looking to be at the top of their game. What do you believe makes a great sales leader in today's market?
Well, like anything, you can't just break it down to one thing. But I tell you, I just mentioned the one who cares the most wins. And I think that plays a huge role. The people who wake up every day and they truly care about the pains that they're solving for their customers, that starts you on the right path. So, fall in love with the people you're serving and get to know them so deeply that you anticipate the problems that they'll face, and you spend a lot of time figuring out how to solve those problems. I think I always talk to sales reps, and a lot of times, especially when they're junior, they don't have the same experience that their buyer has in business. But what they can do is they can become an expert on the one thing that they do, the one problem that they solve, the one sector that they exist in. And I say, imagine you're sitting down, at a bar waiting on your guest to join you for dinner, and your perfect persona, a buyer, comes and sits down right next to you, and you're just having a casual chat with them. Of course, they know all about their business. They know all about being executive, but one thing, and you need to know that one thing better than they do so that they walk away educated, empowered, with knowledge and information. When someone's selling to me, what I'm looking for is, can they tell me something that I don't know about my business that matters, right? And so I think that's just critically important. And then it takes, all sorts of problem-solving capabilities. It takes this, pleasant persistence to break through and be seen as trusted. You have to earn that trust. And I think, being a trusted advisor, a lot of people talk about that. It really boils down to one thing. If I want to earn your trust, the best way to do it is to say I'm going to do something and deliver on it, right? And it's just like when someone gives you advice. The best compliment ever paid is when someone gives you advice and you heed it, right? So let's say that I'm earning your trust. I'm going to tell you, James, I'm going to go out and do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to get this result. Then I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to say, hey, I did what I said I was going to do, and look at the results. That gives me an opportunity to make another commitment to you. Okay, next, here's what's going to happen, right? I'm going to make this commitment, and we're going to deliver in this way. And I think, being able to stream those commitments together really earns you the trust to then say, tell me a little bit more about this particular problem you're solving. I heard that this was happening and this was happening. If you don't do this, this might occur. Can you validate that? Tell me more about that trouble or pain. And I think, that's where it all boils down to. But it starts with that care. And I think it's the same way for running a company. My customers are oftentimes our lofters, not just the customers of SalesLoft, because I know if I empower them, build them up, equip them, deliver their needs, they're going to turn around and add massive value to our customer base. And it starts with that care. Like, I want them to grow. I want them to learn. I want them to be empowered. I want them this to be the best job they've ever had, right? And so I think it all starts there. And then, of course, you got to self-educate. You have to be, subscribe to the membership of lifelong learning, right? Just, cast your ballot and join the club. And recognize that you're responsible for your own development. And the world today, just over what it was when we were kids, you can learn anything now online. And you can dedicate yourself to becoming a master, becoming an expert at something you care about, and do that for sales. There's just so much great resources. There's great, talented people out there, all the stuff that you're doing through your programs. There's just so much to learn and absorb. And the last thing I would leave you with is this motto that I've had in my head now for the last 6 years. I wish I've had it since I was a kid, but I heard it 6 years ago and it never left me. And it was, I want to learn faster than the rate of my own experience. How do you do that? By absorbing it from other people.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. One of the things I've been shocked about is how fast you continue to grow in EMEA. So you've had the stewardship of Ollie Sharp running that business, and we heard from him today about his perspective on sales in the region. I remember when there was a handful of lofters in your UK office, and there was spare seats, and that was a couple of years ago. I'll be honest, I can't keep up. I don't know who half the team are now. We haven't had a chance to come together physically. I'm looking forward to that opportunity to meet some of the lofters, but I wondered, since you've now been in business here a couple of years in this region, are there any learnings or findings or differences that you found, in the region or from the data that struck you as interesting from what's happening in EMEA?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, opening the office in London to start in our UK organization and EMEA efforts, it's been like a dream come true for me. Aside from the business benefit of having just an incredible team out there representing SalesLoft and serving our customers, just a personal joy to meet each and every one of them and see them flourish. And you look at there was a stat recently. You probably know the specifics of it better than I do, but it was the top sales performers in UK, and SalesLoft was top of the list at number one, obviously with Misha, and had others within that top 20. And so Ollie and what he's done for the team, it's just been absolutely incredible. But some cool things is we obviously started 10 years ago in the US. Now we didn't launch the core product that we represent today until late 2014, but even today now, with less resources, less time, our EMEA efforts are over 17% of our US or our North American revenue today. Wow. And so that's just grown tremendously. And the rapidity of how the EMEA market has really understood the value of sales engagement and digital sales has really blown my mind. So I think that's the big stat that I'm excited about. But even more so is the team. And we didn't just stamp out, a SalesLoft office in London. What we did is we really gave them the reins to build their own culture and, to understand the uniqueness of the environment in the region, but also kind of blend that with what makes SalesLoft special. And they've just knocked it out of the park. So it's a joy. I am probably one of the saddest things that's happened through all of COVID is not being able to go out there and visit. And, my first visit, which, I had the time of my life. I mean, you all know how to have a good time, and we got things done. We got to know each other. We talked business. We worked on deals. We helped serve customers, but we also had a blast. And the people that have chosen to be part of the SalesLoft journey in UK and EMEA have just been the best there's ever been, and we're so proud of them.
That's great, and yeah, you can see how well that culture has been embedded. And it's been a pleasure for me at times to have an extension of those fun times as well. So I'm really happy to hear that. You touched on it a little bit, that you had to pivot early on. And one of the themes of this conference today has been about highlighting moments that matter in the career of a leader. And I just wondered, has there been some pivotal moments in the journey of SalesLoft? And if so, how has that impacted how you approach the business or how you thought about your growth?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's been many, and a handful of them come to mind. Maybe I'll highlight a few, but then deep dive on one. For us, I think early on, I started this company as an LLC, and we were focused, as you mentioned, kind of in a different direction. But all of my advisors and lawyers and everyone that was working on the business early on was recommending against, because we were an LLC, doing equity for employees. And I remember not feeling right about that, but kind of following their guidance. And then we went out and raised a Series A in 2015. And the best moment, still one of the most rewarding moments of my time at SalesLoft, is that day that I walked in the office to tell everyone, one, we just raised $10 million. Now, this is 2015. We were a little itty bitty company. One, we just raised $10 million. Two, we converted to a C Corp. And three, every single person in this room has stock in SalesLoft and will continue to throughout this entire journey. And so everyone at the company is a shareholder of the business. And that was a big moment for me. And just, really, kind of breaking out from some of the advice I'd received and, going out and learning on my own and really wanting to empower our team members to feel like owners in the company. So that was one. Two was we had built this old product that was actually growing fast and making a big difference in the customers' lives, but it didn't align with our vision. It didn't have the staying power of being a multi-billion-dollar revenue business ultimately. And we made a big shift of canceling a $7 million ARR product, to go all in on what's now the digital sales platform and sales engagement. And so that was a big moment. And then I think the other big moment that I haven't talked about much online is, we launched our ecosystem and had third-party developers building to the SalesLoft API before anyone else in the category was. And what that meant was we got some really good learnings from our customers and from other sales tech and revenue tech companies who were serving them through the SalesLoft API. And very early on in this journey of what we've seen now happen with some of these other great revenue intelligence and conversation intelligence and forecasting apps, we were able to see the future of what types of technologies companies really were going to use to do a better job of delivering value to their customers and generating revenue. And one of those was conversation intelligence. So we made an acquisition years ago and invested resources and development efforts to build out our conversation intelligence capabilities to now be part of our complete digital sales platform. And man, I mean, at the time, none of those companies had $1 million in revenue. And now you're seeing multi-billion-dollar valuations for the competitors of the company that we bought and other, the companies that we bought. When you look at the other categories we moved into, and it's really neat to see that, our team aligned. We used data and information. We were close to the customer to really get a vision for what was going to happen in the future and jump into that early, so that now that, we look prescient, I guess, in having made these acquisitions for forecasting and deal management, conversation intelligence, and really offering now our customers the most complete digital sales platform that any company can provide. There's businesses out there that have sales engagement or cadence, type solutions. There's businesses that have conversation intelligence type solutions, and there's businesses that have deal management and forecasting, but there's no company in the world other than SalesLoft that can offer all three. And so I think that was a big pivotal moment for us, realizing that it doesn't all have to be built here. We can bring great entrepreneurs in from the outside, bring great tech teams in from the outside. And then, as long as they believe in our mission, vision, and values, they want to be part of our journey, they become team members of SalesLoft. And that's been really neat to not have that kind of not invented here mentality, but to learn faster than the rate of our own experience to serve our customers better.
Well, that's great. And you kind of jumped to my last question, which was about what you're excited about in that future. It feels to me that you've already foreseen a lot of the future on how you've taken and acquired companies. And I think that's a testament to your own vision. And I think we can all feel it from this interview, how well you embed yourself in that profession. Before we wrap up, Carl, is there any final thoughts or tips or advice that you would have for this leadership audience today?
Yeah, you and I talk a lot about organizational health and culture and leading your people and doing it in a way that empowers them to add the most value to your customers. And I think coronavirus and the pandemic have really been a tough time for all of that, for everyone. And I want to walk through some of the things, we had talked a little bit about earlier, some of the things that we've done as an organization to really support our people through this challenge, and really maybe call everyone to a higher level of thinking about how they add value to their teammates. I wasn't really behind this. I can't even take credit for it. We've got an incredible people operations team. I've got a co-founder and president, Rob Foreman, who spearheaded a lot of this. Katie Cox, who runs our people ops. I mean, she came out and presented a program for our lofters that included IVF, egg freezing, adoption assistance, financial support of, $10,000 for eligible lofters who are looking at this. We expanded our maternity leave. We introduced new rest and focus days, bringing our paid time off to 31 days annually. We brought in-house personal counseling, personal development programs. I remember we had a holiday party. It was all digital. We brought a comedian in, and he literally just made fun of me for 30 minutes, and the team loved it. And then everyone opened up a surprise and delight package from SalesLoft, which we had been sending quarterly. And this one, had an Apple Watch with a SalesLoft custom band on it. And it's not just about perks. It's about, showing your teammates what matters, like knowing what matters to them and helping deliver for them. We just announced our sabbatical program at SalesLoft. So anyone who's been at the company for 6 years will get 6 weeks off and paid $10,000 to go on a special trip or to experience, a special event with their friends or family or, even themselves. And I think that's just been really cool. But, in terms of the future of our category, man, it is just beginning. It feels like there's been a lot that's we've accomplished, as a business and as a market to date, but the future is just absolutely unbelievable. And really the way I boil it all down is, sellers and those responsible for any sort of revenue in the revenue lane, everyone from sales enablement, sales operations, top of the funnel SDRs, closers, AEs, AMs, account executives, frontline managers, all executives. I think, think about the things that you do on a daily basis. You are assessing information, you are planning action, and you are executing on that action, right? And what we're doing as a company is helping all three, right? For sellers, we want to do the analysis and the planning on their behalf with automation rules, with intelligence, pre-understanding the things that matter to them and getting smarter about the way we tee up actions for them at the point of communication, so that all they have to do is execute and move on. They get to use their creativity, their intelligence, their relationship connection skills, their problem solving skills. And this is the same with every role across sales. Is the way that technology, digital sales engagement, what we're doing at SalesLoft, we're assessing the information that matters to you. We're helping you plan your day. We're teeing up those actions and those steps, and then empowering you to execute on them in a quicker, more effective and efficient way, so that you deliver massive value to your customers and maximize revenue. And I think that the future is so amazing in terms of what technology applies for us, and how it frees us up to be more human. It frees us up to use what's special in us to deliver massive value to the customer. And so stay tuned. The rocket ship is yet ahead of us on ways that all sellers and all folks in a sales organization are going to be empowered to deliver their customer with an incredible experience.
Well, Kyle, this has been an absolutely brilliant experience. I've really enjoyed it. I always enjoy our conversations. You've enlightened us as always. So a round of applause from the audience, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.